Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. If you're an old friend, then welcome back. If you haven't already, please like, share, and subscribe. How are you all doing on this fine morning, noon or afternoon, depending on when you find this video? Let's see. What message Spirit thinks that we need right now? Okay. Throne and heart. Position of authority, love, deep affection, and caring. I think that part of the problem with society and how we got here to where we are today, which, by the way, it's not a great place. I mean, it could be worse, right? But it's no heaven on earth, not yet anyway, is that we have not valued the things that mattered as highly as they should be. We have not put love, empathy, compassion, affection, and caring on the throne that it deserves. I was just reading an article about a genetic predisposition to psychopathy, and that they have actually been able to identify certain genes, genetic markers, that may predispose one to violence and lack of empathy. But one truth remains, that even in light of those genetic predispositions, they are just that, predispositions. Someone who has these genes can still grow up and be a perfectly normal human being. Because it is our environment that, let's say, activates those genes, right? Which I think is why it is so important, right? That so many of our teachers in schools today are so loving and compassionate. And they should be allowed to remain so. I think, sadly, sometimes when teachers care, it's like some people think they care too much and they get overly involved or overstep bounds. But sometimes it is those types of people, those caring individuals, willing to overstep the bounds, to go the distance for a child in need of loving, kind compassion. Because it's one thing to teach it with words, but I think that the best way that humanity learns is by example. So many children do not have the right environment at home to thrive. To feel safe, to have that empathy exhibited, and I do believe that having someone who is a little psychopathic, violent, lacking empathy, lying, cheating, stealing, having someone like that in their environment is more detrimental to their growth and development and the future of all humanity. Than having a one-parent home, regardless of all the studies that may show that children in one-parent homes, may not do as well, or, academically, or they may be feeling more emotionally down. But you know what they're not? Or what they don't grow up to be? Most likely, psychopaths. Now, there is one other way that we can help future generations, and that is to not procreate with psychopaths in the first place, which I know is easier than it sounds, but there are a few things that we can do. Like one, keep our legs closed, right? Don't be so quick to hop into bed with someone unless you do truly know them. Get to know people before you let them get close to you. Right? Being a Queen of Swords, having good boundaries, making good judgment. And the other, I guess, is also kind of Queen of Swords like. It is taking the opportunity to look at the data, right? You can utilize information and technology in this day and age, right? Why not use it to the best of our abilities? Do your research, find out the red flags, and then while you're getting to know someone, maybe start taking note of possible red flags in people, right? And this is all about, really what it comes down to is valuing and loving yourself enough to take the time to protect yourself. And yes, learning to love yourself first, because I think so many of us have fallen into bad relationships, got tricked, catfished. Because we were just so desperate to be loved. That those sweet nothings that were whispered in our ears that we maybe deep down even knew were lies just sounded so good that we wanted them to be true. So we believed the lies. But had we been whole in ourselves in the first place, we would not have been seeking to fill that hole with a lie. All right, well, anything else? Oh, good advice from a wise person. You see, wisdom, it's like the application of knowledge after the fact. It's like you can only say, I wish I'd known then what I know now, so many times. Because you are given many chances and opportunities to learn and grow. The question is, are you taking them into account and applying them? Right? I tell you this because I've been there. I know because I've been there. And I've learned from that experience. And I want to help you learn and grow and avoid your possible heartaches in the future, and help you to avoid your children's possible heartaches in the future, because that is how we build a better future. You know, we have to be intentional about it. And we have to take every possible resource and use it to our advantage. Anything else? Nine of Pentacles. It's like you have to learn to be okay on your own before you can ever be okay with anyone else. And you have to learn your worth. You are worthy of luxury. You are worthy of so much more than you give yourself credit for. And we need to teach our children that they are worthy and how to be independent, not only physically and financially, but emotionally as well. Contentment, self-sufficiency. To be okay on your own. So that they don't need to go seeking validation from an outside source. And yes, schools I think these days do a pretty good job of creating an environment that is healthy for kids. And children do spend a lot of time there. But it needs to be reinforced at home. And so if your home is not a place where love is on the throne, then maybe you need to do whatever you can to get there, to make love a priority, and being willing to create the kind of environment that is safe, happy, and healthy for you and your children. If you have them. If you don't, it's always good advice just for you too. Because what's good for you is probably going to be good for your kids too, unless you're toxic, right? You know, keep drugs out of the home. Don't drink. Don't allow people who drink and do drugs into your home, because it may seem harmless at first, especially if you grew up in an environment like that. But another thing that we have learned is that these psychopaths are more prevalent when drugs and alcohol are involved. So, yeah. Seven of Swords. It's like, it's really not that hard to spot a Seven of Swords, okay? If someone lies, cheats, betrays you, if they're, tricky, fraudulent, they have a criminal record, all of these things, right? They're red flags. And usually the signs are there, right? And if you take the time to get to know someone first, then these will come out. You will see them. You will notice them. They're hard to not see when you take the time to look. And if you see it and recognize it and acknowledge it, and then choose, right, to you choose to cut it out, right? Yeah. Okay, so Five of Swords. All right, so this is another red flag here, okay? If someone likes to argue with you, someone likes to, even just little arguments throughout the day, it's like every single one of those takes away from your happiness, your Ten of Cups, right? It takes away from that Ten of Cups. And so it's like anything that takes away from your Ten of Cups, from your happiness, from your peace, from your serenity, is not something that you need or want, right? Something that causes you heartbreak, sadness. If you take the time to truly reflect, Page of Wands, to explore, right, mentally, emotionally, what is right in front of your face, then you can avoid a lot of heartache. And yes, if you've already gotten yourself into a situation with the Seven of Pentacles. If you've already planted seeds in a situation that is no good, it is difficult to pull up your roots or walk away from that harvest. But if that harvest is poison, then you're better off. The Hermit, the Empress, and the Page of Pentacles. It's like the evidence is there, right? The Page of Pentacles, the evidence is there, right? You gotta look. The Hermit, do some research. Do some soul searching of yours and other people's. Value yourself as high as possible, the Empress. And what you do with the evidence and the outcome is up to you. Four of Swords and Two of Swords. Ultimately, the goal, once you see and recognize what is for you, what is good for you, and what is not good for you, is to cut out anything that is not good for you, that does not bring you peace, or that takes away from your peace. And learn to recover. That in time, you will recover from all the bad decisions, from all the bad seeds, from all the poison. Once you take it out, once you get rid of it, once you cut it out, that's when you can start healing from it. I hope this has helped you in some way, shape, or form. I hope, if nothing else, it has entertained you for a few moments in time. And that if you haven't already, you will like, share, and subscribe.